Welcome back to Plus Systems, the podcast where we stop glorifying survival alone and start talking about what it actually takes to rebuild a life after everything changes. Today's guest is someone whose entire future was interrupted in an instant. After surviving a severe AVM brain rupture, Michael wasn't just recovering physically, he was forced to confront something deeper: the collapse of the life that he thought he was going to live. And instead of staying trapped in grief or identity loss, he began rebuilding through structure, systems, routine tracking, and intentional recovery. This conversation is not about pretending trauma makes people stronger overnight. It's about what happens when the original blueprint disappears. And you have to architect a completely new future from where you are standing today. So, Michael, welcome in to Soul Plus Systems.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Honored to have you here. Before we get into the rupture and recovery itself, who do you believe you are today in your own words?
Today, I'm kind of a person that just wants to help others going through the same thing that I did. It's been a little over 20 years since it happened, so I have experience going through the whole gamut of recovery, healing.
What kind of identity did you carry before everything changed?
Honestly, I don't really remember too much because 90% of my life was erased from my memories and my brain. So I think it's pretty similar to what I am today, but the biggest difference, I think, is emotions. I'm not a very emotional person. I don't get angry anymore. I don't want to say I don't care about other things, but it's like relationships, those kind of things. I ended a relationship or something like that. I didn't really care too much. I know that sounds bad, but it wasn't like a huge shock. I think it comes from mostly what happened to me. I survived that. So a relationship's probably not as big of a deal.
I hear you. Some days I feel exactly like that. You're speaking the words from my own head. So I can deeply relate to that. Do you feel like people sometimes maybe underestimate how deeply identity and routine are tied together?
100%. No one can really understand it unless they've been through it. That's why for thousands of years, people have been looking at disabilities as weaknesses, but in reality, it's our greatest strength because we have to learn how to overcome everything. We have to learn how to do something, especially like with me, I had to learn how to brush my teeth. I have a process for brushing my teeth, for taking a shower, for getting dressed, for when I wake up in the morning. So I don't know, it's adjustments and adapting. That's basically what it is.
Overcome and adapt. I hear you there. Yeah,
Yeah.
those structures and those routines really help me to even just a small win of getting up in the morning. And like you mentioned, brushing your teeth, just that routine and that structure for you helps you to get you through your day. For me, it's as simple as just making my bed,
Yeah.
and it's just a small win, but it's a win still. And it keeps me structured and disciplined throughout my mornings.
Yeah.
One thing that you said that really stood out to me, that it wasn't just your memory that was impacted. It felt like your future disappeared too.
Yeah. I got out of the Navy. I'm a submarine veteran in 2001.
Thank you for your
And
service.
oh, thank you. Appreciate that. I got out of the service. I got a job, wasn't a great job. And then in June of 2003, I found what I considered like a dream job. And then in December 2003 is when my rupture happened. So I only got to work there for 6 months. I didn't get a chance to excel at life the way I thought I was going to be able to. I had a dream job. I was ready to go for the rest of my life, but it all got erased. And
You
there's
feel
nothing
like
I
you
could do to
grieve
get that
that
back.
old version? You feel like you grieve that old version of yourself?
I used to, not anymore. It's been so long that this is just me. Just
What
like
does
that's how I
grieving
am.
that your old identity actually look like in real life for you?
It was the why me, the what ifs, all those natural questions that come up after a traumatic event or something like that. It's just something you have to work through, and it's not an easy process. It takes a long time to get to that point, and it took me years. My recovery, like the first 3 or 4 years, was extremely grueling. It was constant doctor appointments, changing medications, finding pain management, physical therapies, all that stuff. And it finally settled down after about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, somewhere around there. We found a combination of medications that just gave me the best quality of life. And my doctors were always honest with me, and they say, well, you're not going to be back to normal. So this is
Yeah, I
what
was just
we're
about to
going to do.
ask you if there was ever that moment that you realized that you can't keep being the person that you were before.
I don't think there was one moment. It was just a culmination of things. After it happened, and this is all secondhand information because I don't remember anything. But my mom and my stepdad were with me for the whole time. I lived with them for 10 years because of my disability. So it wasn't just a moment. It was a long process to get to
I
get
can
there.
relate to that. It just seems once you get to a process where things have built up enough in your nervous system, then you begin to realize that those things are oftentimes due to trauma and things like that. You speak a lot about rebuilding through operational frameworks instead of wishful thinking. What made you realize structure mattered more than just motivation alone?
I would get confused. My brain doesn't exactly work right anymore. So it's easy for me to get confused, distracted. For me to do simple tasks is hard. My hands shake. I still have tremors and stuff like that. But the structure is the way I have to live. If I just go willy nilly all day long, I won't get anything done. And I just question myself, what did I do?
Yeah, I hear you. Some days I have that, or also what happens to me. Now, why do small victories matter so much during trauma recovery?
It's a step forward. I know part of my healing was finding the right combination of medications to put my symptoms to where it gives me the best quality of life. And the physical therapies, they didn't really help at all. So I stopped doing those. I have PTSD, but I got through that with psychological help as well through therapy. And after I got through the major hurdles, like everything that for years, everything that happened to me, like when I got sick, if I sneezed, I would think it was my brain. So I have to go to the doctor again and say, what's wrong with me? But after a while, I just stopped assuming that everything had to do with my brain. And it's just normal body functions.
That must have been a real mental reset for you. That wow. That how important is tracking progress when somebody feels mentally or emotionally broken, or maybe they're waiting for permission to just take up space?
That's what I thought for a long time. And I was just taking up space. But once you get to a point where you're actually able to go do things and get back out there and stuff like I did, because it took me years to even just go out of the house. Because I didn't look right. And my head was like stiff. I couldn't move it at all. So it took me a while to get to that point. It's not an overnight process, but like I said, after a while, I just stopped saying, oh, woe is me, or I'm so messed up. I don't want to get out there. That life got boring.
Yes,
It's
I
boring to
agree.
sit there.
I agree. I agree. Oh, I know we did enough of that during COVID. A lot of us can relate to that self-isolation. But I ironically enough, I did a lot of my best thinking back then because hey, I was alone a lot. They did definitely teach me about resilience and control under pressure, that is for sure. Do you think survival changes the way that someone sees time?
Yeah. Um, in my case, I never woke up. There's no point in anywhere in my brain that I woke up or I remember waking up. I was in a coma for a week, in the hospital for about a month and a half. I don't remember waking up. I can't say with 100% accuracy that what I see is real, but according to my brain, it's real. So I just go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Your brain is the number one thing to keep going. To the listeners, and I know someone can hear your story, and I know they're resonating with you right now. What would you say to someone listening whose life completely changed and they don't know who they are anymore?
I would say, first of all, I'm sorry that it happened to you, of course, but what you're going through in the first phases is completely normal. Nobody comes out of a traumatic event happy. Their lives changed. They're not grateful. There's nothing like that. But it takes time. There's no time limit. It's up to each individual to work through it, to find a happy place. Even if it just means you can get up and cook yourself dinner or walk around the house, go outside and sit on the porch, stuff like that. Those are little things. It's not 100%, but, and then you have to find new interests and new hobbies because a lot of people can't go back to what they used to do. They can't have the same hobbies or interests. So they have to try something else. Like me, mine's a brain injury. So I had to relearn everything, but there's disabilities that don't affect the brain and your general emotional status. There's all kinds of different disabilities, but everyone just has to adapt. I have one of my best friends. He's in a wheelchair. He's been in a wheelchair for, I don't know, probably 20, 30 years, something like that. And he gets through life. He goes to work every day. He hangs out with friends. He travels a lot and stuff like that. But it's not immediate. It's just little, and I know it sucks to say this, but it's true. It's baby steps.
You know what? The momentum comes from just having consistency. And those baby steps, like we were mentioning before, those small wins are really what build up that momentum. You created an entire routine tracking journal ecosystem around recovery and rebuilding. And what inspired you to turn your personal systems into something that could help other survivors and caregivers?
I just, like on social media and stuff, I just started seeing people that are going through the same things that I went through. Maybe not the same trauma, but the same process that I went through. And I wanted to say something to people, to give them a rundown on what exactly is going to happen, because not many people come out of it saying, "Oh, I know this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen." There's nothing like that. So I wanted to tell people it's okay to feel the way you feel right now. It's normal. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a normal part of healing. There's two aspects to healing. It's physical and mental. And sometimes they're treated as two different things, which they should be. Your physical body will heal probably faster than your mental health will heal. It's steps, like you do a step in healing, and that step you accomplish, that milestone, that actually helps your mental health with that. So I tried to separate some physical healing from the mental healing with the journals that I created, that it's just raw and uncensored emotions from people. I know, I think a lot of time in therapy, people are not always honest with the therapist. So they can't.
Sometimes that happens. Yeah, I can agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. So
So who
like,
are these tools for?
I now have 11 different journals. There's sudden disability, PTSD, cerebral palsy, and autism. And each journal has a companion edition for caregivers, because nobody goes through this alone. There's always somebody helping us through it, taking care of us. A caregiver or a family member, a family member, or caregiver can be the same, but it's for both. And with the cerebral palsy and autism journals, I separated those out by age group. Because a teenager with autism or cerebral palsy is in a different place in their life than a 7-year-old with cerebral palsy or autism. So that's why I separated out all those journals with age groups, because they're dealing with different things.
Absolutely. What kind of transformations have you seen happen when people stop relying only on emotion and start implementing structure?
It's just more, I wouldn't say satisfaction, but it's more like milestones that they work through. Because I see people all the time that just complain how they feel so bad each day. They got through the day, but at the end of the day, they start crying because everything hurts so bad and they can't get rid of what they're going through. And the journals are meant to put that stuff on paper, because if you put it on paper, it's there forever, basically. And somebody can go back and look at what stays there in the healing, and go back to what they used to feel compared to what they feel now. And the journals go from the day it happens all the way up to rebuilding their life, redefining success, redefining strengths, going through financial stress, all that stuff. So it's something that you can look back on. I don't have that. And it kind of bugged me for a long time. And that's why I created journals too, because I don't have anything to look back on.
Yeah, the journals, that's a really beautiful touch. I've created journals also for some of my groups and stuff like that. To me, it always goes back to the lighthouse effect, where you're able to be a beacon in the light for others. And so your story is beautiful. The journals and everything is really touching. Michael, I appreciate this conversation because this wasn't about fake positivity. This is about the reality of rebuilding when life doesn't go according to the original plan. And I think a lot of people listening to hear that grief and rebuilding can exist and at this very same time. And before we close out, where can people find you? Where can they support your work and connect with your recovery systems and books and journals?
Right now, the journals and the ebook that I have are on Amazon, KDP, the Kindle Direct Publishing. They're available to buy physical copies. And then on Etsy, I have digital copies. It's in my shop. It's Resilient Intentions. This is my Etsy shop. Like I said, on Amazon, I can send you all the details.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and get
The
the
links.
links out of the descriptions.
Yeah.
And this has been Selfless Systems. If today's episode hit you somewhere real, don't just consume it, share it with somebody, rebuilding quietly behind the scenes. Because survival alone is not the end of the story. Rebuilding is. And sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is architect a new future after the old one disappears. I'm Jen, and until next time, keep rebuilding.